And what you're left with just on the right side is the 2 times root x plus 4. Well, now I have 2 times root x plus 4. I want 1 times root x plus 4. So you divide both sides by 2. Dividing by 2, you just press divide by 2, enter, and this down here will pop up because it's going to take the whole equation and divide it by 2, and then you have x minus 2 is equal to root x plus 4. I'm going to scroll down so we can see where we are. We divided by 2, and now we're going to square both sides. So at this point right now you're just going to hit x squared, enter, and it types this into the calculator, and when you press enter you'll get this. Now at this point you're going to take this side and they're going to subtract x and subtract 4 from both sides, just like we do in class. To solve a quadratic we get everything on the left side. So subtract x, subtract 4 before they went ahead and squared this. Normally on the board I square this first and then I subtract the x and the 4. But on the calculator you can do this all at once. Subtract x, subtract 4. And then what happens is you have the left side equal to 0. Notice that it went ahead and did the squared right here, x minus 2 squared. Okay, and then now that you have the quadratic, you can just use your solve function, solve. Don't forget to put the comma and then tell it what you want to solve for, comma x. And we end up with 0 or 5 as our answer for that quadratic. Now on the next page we're going to verify 0 or 5 works. So on the next page it says now test each solution. Well, how do you test each solution? You go back to the original. You can actually say on this one you can assign 0 to x. So I can say x, and this is where you press the control, and this sign right here is the assigning, so you get a colon equals sign, 0, press enter. Okay, go back to your original equation up here all the way to the top. Okay, select this entire equation, do control copy, go to your next page and do a control V for paste, and it does that. And now when I press enter here it should tell me true or false, because it says is this with x equal to 0 equal to 1, and it says false. Now I'm going to assign the 5 to the x by clicking x, control colon equals, give it the 5, press enter, and now at this point you can just actually paste. Wait a minute, I've already got that copied on the clipboard because we do have a clipboard here, so we can do control V, should paste the same exact thing. And now x is 5, and it's going to evaluate this when I press enter for 5, and it says true. So x is equal to 5. You see that the 0 turned out to be an extraneous root. Now on the next page they're going to show you, and I have not showed you, but you can split the screen on this calculator and have a notes page on the left, which they've done, and it says graph both sides to see where the graphs intersect. Copy and paste the radical side into f1 of x. Well, what are you going to copy and paste into here is you're going to go back here to the 1.2 page, and you're going to take the left side, or let's see, the left side of the equation, which is this one right here, because you want to work with this equation because I have a radical root on both sides. So you're going to take the left side, okay, and you're going to need to copy this one again. So control C to copy, go out to your graph page, go right here down here in your F1 and paste it with a control V and press enter, and it graphs this function. Now I'm going to move the label up because I know the other one's going to graph somewhere else, because we're going to get an intersection here. So we're going to, that was the left side of the equation. Now if I go back and I take the right side of this equation, now don't worry about your error down there because we're not talking domain here. So graph this, control C to copy it, Go back out to your graph page. Now to show your entry line, go down, get your insertion point down here, your cursor with your pad here, and now you can paste the second function in here, Control V, and press enter, and it's going to graph this one in green. Now we're going to move this label down out of the way, because what we're interested in is, when are these two sides equal? Well, those two sides, F1 and F2, remember, back here on our equation, we said this is equal to this. Well, it equals that on certain values of x. Well, what are those values of x? Well, we want to know when these two things are equal. Well, if we look at the graph, they're obviously equal at this intersection point. Okay? So what we want to do is find the intersection of those, and it's a little difficult to do on this graph without any points, but the calculator will do that when you go to menu, analyze graph, and you can, once you click the menu button, you can click 6, and we want to know what the intersection is, so 6, 4, and now we're going to have to give it a low bound. It's asking low bound question mark right down here, and so you're going to drag this over until it's to the left of that point right here, and just click, and now it's saying where's the upper bound. In other words, where should I look after that for the intersection? As soon as you drag past that intersection point, you can click. Now it tells us that the intersection is at the point 5, 4. I just moved the label with the little hand there. Okay. When your graphs get a little confusing, you can just grab it. As you cursor over things, you'll see that it'll say, this is the label I'm going to grab, and then you just click and move it. And the hand closes, it's grabbed it, and you can move it. Now, our intersection is 5, 4. On this graph. Okay, now if you go to the next page, so that tells us that the x value is 5, which makes those two sides equal, which makes these two graphs equal, which is what we were looking for. Now, next problem with 2 radicals, you will try this time with the help of the CAS. Be sure to isolate a radical, then square both sides. Repeat until all radicals are gone, then test for truth. Last check the graph for verification of the intersection points. So here's your problem. So you're going to isolate the radical, so that means you need to add this radical to both sides. And then when you finish solving it on this page, you test it for truth by assigning the x value that you get on the previous page to x, and then cut and paste your equation. You can rewind this and go back and see how I did that. And finally, they have the graph here. You're going to cut and paste the left side and then the right side, and then find the intersection point. And that's all you're going to do. And then after you do this, you can send the file to me. Let me show you how to do that, because people are confused how to do that. Let's go back to the File tab. Once you have this, you're going to navigate up here. Let's say I wanted to save this. Okay, I'm going to go up. I have these on my hard drive as new calculator files. So I'm going to make a new folder here. So I can go to Settings, New Folder. And I can call this folder, I'm going to type in completed. Okay. Now, let's say I have this, because I have 2 radicals here, and I'm going to save that. So I can say File, Save As, because I don't want to destroy the original copy that I had, and it's going to ask me where to put it. I'm going to go to my new calculator files, and I have this new folder called Completed Assignments. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to save it in there, but I'm going to give it a file name. Instead of 2 radicals, I would like you to put your initials on here, or something like, okay, I'm going to put MN for Mrs. Navickas, 2 radicals, and you can put your 2 initials there, and that way when I get them emailed, I will have all different file names instead of all the same file names, and so I can just look at them and save. Now if I go to completed assignments, my 2 radicals assignments, if I double click on that, this is the 2 radical assignments. As you can see, this one is the one where I graphed the file. The file was empty here, and this is the one where I graphed it. Okay, now when you're ready to send that to me, okay, you're going to know where this is. Okay, so you open your email program and you attach this file and send it to me. And then that's about it. And we're going to work on all these files, so you'll have to know how to do this. Okay?